Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslak talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you about what the average research budget for PhDs and professors are. So, if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out. So a little while ago, I asked on this channel, which is mostly PhDs and professors, what their average research budget is for the year in US dollars. And I calculated it based on it. It's a small sample, so it's 15 people. I apologize for a small sample. Maybe in a year as this audience grows, please do subscribe that we can have a much larger audience here and get a more accurate number. But the average research budget for most PhDs is about $2,940 per year. So that's an average, and there's some issues with that when you look at an average. So you have to actually look at the distribution of the people that are, or distribution of the people that answered this, right? So 40% of the people actually have a research budget of about $1,000. 13% have a budget between $1,000 and $2,500. 27% have a research budget between $2,500 to $5,000, and then 20% have a research budget between $5,000 to $10,000, and none have a research budget higher than that, so greater than $10,000 per year. That's US dollars. Now, what does a research budget, what is it used for? So it is dedicated for travel, software, and any particular needs that you need. Maybe it's collecting data, getting data samples, whatever it is that you're going to use for your research journey, right? And so we all need some research funds, and there's different processes in terms of getting this research funds. Across the different universities, it really depends on what's going on. Kind of the norm is that you get your own sort of pool of money, and your pool of money helps you to, you have sort of say over this pool of money. My school and some other schools, you kind of pool it at the department level, and then somebody else divvies out the money and sort of coordinates how much money there is. And sort of coordinates across the department. Kind of works out, it's a little bit more effective because then most money gets used up, but then there's also a little bit more, it's likelihood that there could be more politicking involved, and it just depends on the different models that you have. So I need to point out that my audience is about 32% business administration and strategy scholars. But there's lots of people from different disciplines that are watching this. The vast majority of the people that are actually watching this are people from other disciplines, maybe the basic sciences, social sciences, things like that, other than in a business school. So there is a substantial difference that's going on here. And so what is the distribution? Why is there this kind of crazy distribution where most people only get about $1,000 of research funds, and a lot of people, or a few people, get a substantial amount, so $10,000 in terms of their research funds? What is really going on here? What is driving that? So first of all, again, across the different disciplines, it is really sort of tricky to make this analogy. A lot of different disciplines get grant funding, and that helps them sort of fund their projects, and so they're not going to get it from their university. But that there is this that goes on in a business school, for example, where we do get, many of us get sort of monies through the business school or some sort of private sort of foundation, something along those lines, where the money actually comes from in terms of driving our research funds. But we still really need to worry about that, right? But the other thing besides that, and then there's one other thing too that you need to, many of us actually don't need a lot of research funds. If you're collecting data that is easily available, that, you only travel to one conference a year or something like that, you don't need a lot of research funds for all that kind of stuff. But some of us actually do need a lot of research funds. And so it really depends on the kind of research that you're doing. if you're in the field, when you're going in the field, maybe you're going and working for, a company in terms of an ethnography, for example, for 6 months. That's pretty expensive to do that. You're probably not going to get paid, and so you need some living expenses for that. So you're going to need a research budget for it. So, but besides those sort of differences across the disciplines of the university or of academia, there is differences in terms of the status of the universities, right? So a lot of universities, the vast majority of the universities actually don't pay a lot in terms of their research budgets, but then there are a few that actually do pay a substantial amount of money for the research budgets. There are some people, I think it's around 10 to 20% are part of public Ivies or Ivy League schools that are following this in terms of the demographics of the people that are actually watching this channel. So there's a substantial of them that probably get a little bit more funding than the most of us that are out there. And that's why there's this kind of status ranking that happens, right? So how sort of funding works in a university is that, or how this works is your rankings climb. And as your rankings climb, then other people believe in the university, and so you're more likely to get outside funding, for example. It's more likely that it's going to be attractive to doctoral students. It's more likely that faculty are going to be attractive to that particular place. And as it climbs in the status, the more likely that you're going to attract more talent. And then it's easier to actually get research funds, and it's easier to get more money for the university, and it grows and grows and grows, right? So that's how you actually build a university, if you didn't know that. It's how you build a company as well, is that it just takes time. It builds over time, and as it sort of builds in terms of your rankings and you climb the rankings, then you get greater and greater funds. That's why, Harvard, that's why, Princeton, they have this huge endowments, is that they've invested in terms of building the sort of status of the university, and they continue to do that over time. And most of that's actually through research and graduate school and things like that, right? Like these schools are actually the ones that you know about. So Princeton and Harvard and stuff, they're actually really tiny schools. In terms of the population that's there, right? So they're really, really small, but they have huge endowments, and they're really focused on research going forward. And so that's what you should be looking for with this as well. So I thought this was really helpful for a lot of people. It's helpful for me to sort of understand, pay equity and things like that in terms of where you sit. But, on average, it's about $2,900 that most people get across the board in terms of their research funds. Again, hopefully in a year or two, that as the audience grows, we might have a little bit more of an accurate number with this, but that's pretty close, I think. It's not unreasonable, and the distribution actually makes a lot of sense in terms of how I understand this works. And there's just nobody else that's actually put this number out there, so I thought it'd be really helpful for you as you're watching this video to kind of get a sense of where you stand. Me personally, I couldn't actually enter anything into there, but I'm within that range, so it is not unusual. And I think it's a pretty accurate number to sort of say that's what we're gonna make, right? So hopefully this helped you out in terms of understanding what the average research budget is for most PhDs, most professors that are out there. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.